Good Friday morning, YouTube. How you guys doing? Happy Friday. Hey, Brand. Well, this morning, I have a couple of updates and some interesting conversation, as to what's going on in this crazy world of ours today. The first thing I want to talk about this morning, is the fact that the shooters, the father and son, that shot the 25 now 26-year-old jogger Ahmaud Arbery, those shooters, the McMichaels, have been arrested. Good morning, Kings. How you doing? Why you sew your mask? I know that's right, girl. So the shooters have been arrested. They were arrested after the Georgia Bureau of Investigation got involved with the case after an outcry of support for the Ahmaud Arbery family. I can't hardly say his name. Started, surfacing up via mostly via social media. We know Ahmaud Arbery got shot back in December. He was a black man, 25 years old, jogging, and he was pretty much gunned down. I call it a modern day lynching, as well as a whole lot of people. Hey, March baby. Hey, Tanya. And so, like I said, since then, since his story has been highlighted on the internet, we have finally his family has finally gotten a little further along when it comes to seeking justice, for what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. And as a result of, like I said, the public outcry via social media, entertainers, the lawmakers, mostly black people, are also protesting in Brunswick, Georgia. As a result of this, his shooters have been arrested after a 2.5 month long period. And a lot of us feel like, if there hadn't been this sort of social media / public outcry, these two perpetrators would not have been arrested even today. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, let me pull up a little video for you guys as to what's going on with the Ahmaud Arbery case as it stands today. Okay, I hope you guys are going to enjoy your weekend. As usual, per usual, it's gonna be raining around here where I live at. Okay, so anyway, let me share this screen with you guys. Let me switch to another thing, because we got a couple of things I wanted to speak on this morning. And if you would give me 1 second, I will change my thing here so that I can see what's going on in the world of YouTube. Okay. So yeah, let me pull up this little news article, this little news info for you guys. And good Friday morning, everybody that has joined me. Thank you. I would appreciate it greatly if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button. Do you see what I'm saying? The like button, the dislike button, whatever button. It helps the algorithm. It helps get this information out and about on these YouTube streets. Let me share this screen with you guys, if I could here. And we'll get started. Like I said, I want to show you guys some video of the arrest, as well as I want to play some audio of something that Benjamin Crump said in relation, as well as the attorney Lee Merritt for the Arbery's. They had some information to share also. And so we'll get to that. But first, let me pull up, if I can, what I found from 11 Alive News. Okay, let's see here. I think I want that one. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. Okay, 1 second. All right, you can see it. So this is a report from the 11 Alive News. I believe 11 Alive is in Atlanta. It's in the Georgia area somewhere. I believe the 11 Alive News is Georgia. But anyway, this is the news report. It says public reaction caused major shift in case. They're talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case. Attorney for Ahmaud Arbery's family speaks about race or recent events or something like that. I don't understand that title, but anyway, let me hit the play button so we can watch this little bit of info. Okay, here we go.
Caught the moment the pair was led away in handcuffs. Just in the last hour, we got the mugshots.
Could you guys hear this? Hit the one if you can hear it.
64-year-old Gregory McMichael and his 34-year-old son, Travis McMichael, are both charged with murder and aggravated assault. These arrests come more than 2 months after Ahmaud Arbery's death. It happened as the 25-year-old was jogging in Brunswick. Tomorrow would have been Ahmaud's 26th birthday. There are many layers to this story tonight, and we are walking you through every one, so stick around. I hope, and I spoke to the family's attorney tonight in an exclusive interview. We have that coming up, but first tonight, Natisha Lange joins us live outside GBI headquarters in DeKalb County. Natisha, this is ground zero for the Arbery investigation.
Ground zero is right, Aisha. They joined the investigation late, but as you see tonight, 2 arrests. We learned this about 8 o'clock when GBI said that they arrested Gregory and Travis McMichael for the death of Ahmaud Arbery. They've both been arrested and charged with murder and aggravated assault. There were 2 prosecutors on this case before who recused themselves for conflict of interest. Gregory McMichael previously worked as an investigator with the Glynn County DA's office, and a 3rd prosecutor had planned to have a grand jury hear this case. Now take a look. This is the video the 2 were seen in confronting Arbery as he was jogging through a Brunswick neighborhood. Now, in a 911 call that we just received today, they told police they believed he was a burglary suspect. A scuffle broke out between the men and Arbery was shot and killed. It's taken 10 weeks since that shooting. Now let me walk you through the timeline. The deadly shooting happened back on February 23rd. No charges filed since then. The video was released to the public on Tuesday, and that's the same day GBI was requested to work on the case. GBI launched its investigation just yesterday, and tonight we have those 2 arrests. Now, this comes after Governor Kemp today put his confidence in the agency to find the truth.
I have no doubt in my mind that it will be fair and that Director Reynolds and this seasoned team that he has of investigators will work very quickly, but they will also be very thorough, and they will go wherever the truth takes them.
And the protest and rally are scheduled to be in Brunswick tomorrow to celebrate the birthday of Ahmaud Arbery, who would have had another birthday yesterday, and also to call for the resignation of the DA locally in that community there, Aisha.
All right, now, Natisha, a lot of people are calling for that, but what do we know? Because now we're on number 3. Any indications about some of the key bullet points that could come out of this press conference, especially as it relates to who's leading the investigation?
Well, we know that GBI took over as leading the investigation. We also know that according to the Justice Department, that the FBI also joined the investigation. So that could indicate that there could be hate crime charges that could be filed in this as well. However, it's going to be a long-going process before we find out more information, but there could be a lot more information that we find out about the interviews that they may conduct with the 2 McMichaels over the course of this night, and that could be revealed tomorrow during that press conference, Aisha.
All right, thank you so much, Natisha. I just sat down and talked with the attorney for Ahmaud Arbery's family in an exclusive interview with 11 Alive. Lee Merritt tells me about the moment he got the call and what's next in this case.
Mr. Merritt, we know that this arrest is just the first step. It is a long way from charges to conviction. So tell me, what was it like on the eve of Ahmaud's 26th birthday to get the call that the McMichaels had been arrested 10 weeks later?
You know, it was very relieving for this family. As soon as I learned from a Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent, and I called Ahmaud's mom right away, Wanda Cooper. And you know what? She gave me a big exhale, and she was very, very excited about the indictment. About the arrest. But she remained still very stoic, as she's sort of remained during this entire process. You can tell that she's really focused on seeing these men convicted and appropriately sentenced.
And so we're getting a lot of questions tonight about the man who recorded the video and what's going to happen with him. Do we know any update about the status of an arrest or charges coming for him?
My understanding is that he is still being investigated, and that there's a strong likelihood that he will also be charged. But at this point, they don't have enough evidence to move forward with charges.
And so what do you say about the social media reaction in that video coming out? Things just really, really turned up this week. And it seems like it went from nothing to a whole lot of something fast.
So it's important to note that the video was already in the hands of prosecutors and investigators prior to it being released publicly. And so what we learned from that is it was the public reaction that caused the major shift in this case. And so what I hope people take away from that is that it's going to be their continued investment that will ensure that justice is done in this case.
What can we expect next out of this case?
Well, we still need to see the arrest, I believe, of the third suspect. We need to see these men formally indicted, and those state charges have to move forward. I believe, and the family is asking for a special prosecutor for the state charges. But when I say I specify state charges because we believe that there should also be parallel federal charges. Georgia doesn't have a hate crime statute, but there are federal hate crime protections that we believe should also be pursued here.
Okay, and so as it relates to going into tomorrow, we know that the press conference is coming, and that's going to be coming on Ahmaud's 26th birthday. Let's talk about the significance of the timing, and I'm sure that is so hard for his mother, who she gave birth to him on Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's a huge gift to Ahmaud to have these men arrested. It's a tragedy that it took over 10 weeks for these men to be arrested, but for it to come on this eve, tomorrow, Ahmaud's birthday, was always going to be hard for his family. It was going to be very, very hard for Ms. Cooper, but this softens the blow just a bit, and it takes her into the Mother's Day weekend with just a little bit of relief.
Mr. Merritt, thank you so much for your time. I know it's been quite a busy day. There is a long road, and we'll be following this and following you all very closely. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
As soon as the word of these arrests came, hundreds of you started sounding off on the 11 Alive Facebook page. Fred wrote, "Thank goodness for that video. They should have been arrested back in February." Shambra says, 3 months later, thank you, GBI, but we have to do better. And Doreen wrote, let the judicial process.
Okay, so you heard what the report said. Okay, Water Sniper, I checked that out. I did a video on the shoemates a long time ago when people have been wondering what happened to them. Thank you for that info. I didn't know that they had gotten a divorce, but I'm not surprised. But anyway, you heard what the let me stop this real quick. You heard what the news report said concerning the Arbery case. What I found interesting, I don't know if they talked about it a little bit on my last video when we were speaking about the Arbery case, that we spoke about this anonymous video that had surfaced on social media, right? Well, come to find out, the video is really not anonymous. It was not even uploaded by an anonymous person. The person that shot the video, they were evidently with the Michaels at the time, and the police have had this video footage for a long time, and they are thinking about charging the shooter of the video, the person who shot the video. They are also thinking about charging that person with this crime as well. And in the report, they also stated that Georgia does not have a hate crime law on the books. That is absolutely true, but they can be charged with federal hate crime laws. That is why the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, I believe, had to step in before an arrest was even made, because we heard that, and now we know that this case has went through 3 counties, because two of the previous counties that the case went to, the first county and the second county, those police investigators or those district attorneys, they recused themselves because they had personal relationships with the shooters. We know the father was a police officer for over 30 years, a police officer, and he worked with the prosecution's office. In the second county that it went to, the guy said that he didn't see a problem with anything that the McMichaels had done, that the shooters had done, but via this third district attorney and the involvement on social media, a public outcry, along with the fact that Pretty much he had to involve the GBA after the public outcry. Coupled with all of that, the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, finally, after 2.5 months, got involved, and the arrests have been made. Now we have seen this sort of thing, over and over again when they arrest these Anglos for the killing of unarmed black men and women. Pretty much nothing ever happens to them after that. We are not going to be surprised if they are given nothing more than a slap on the wrist, this time as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Now, Benjamin Crump, as well as the family's attorney, have been speaking out, and I'm going to play you a little bit of what Benjamin Crump had to say about this whole thing. Stay on here for a minute if you can, Brandon, because I'm about to switch my screen. Yes, and children as well. Absolutely. We're not never going to forget Tamir Rice, okay? Nor are we going to forget Kareem Gang's little boy that was shot in the process of them pretty much executing Kareem Gangs, okay? He lived to tell the tale. God bless him. And so let me, if I can, find this little piece from the Breakfast Club. I can't show you the video, but I can play the audio for you if I can find it. Hold on one second. And we'll see what Ben Crump. Now we know that Ben Crump, he stepped in to speak out on many cases as far back as Trayvon Martin, and we all remember what happened in the Trayvon Martin case, which was nothing at all because George Zimmerman was exonerated for the murder of Trayvon Martin. We can also expect to see this black man, Mr. Arbery, be criminalized, in the public as this case moves forward. Do you see what I'm saying? And we can expect to see this because that is what we see in all of these cases. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they have no empathy for black life in this United States of America. We all know that. We are not surprised, okay? But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, and also, I wanted to talk about, before I play Benjamin Crump, I want to play you this little audio from the Donkey of the Day Breakfast Club. There is a St. Paul man that was charged for killing an unarmed black man. Okay, this unarmed black man was a essential worker. Do you see what I'm saying? And this Anglo man in St. Paul killed him. He said he thought he was a gang member. So let me play you that little audio first, and we will move forward with the commentary. Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. You got to deal with the ads and all this and all that. So hold on. But I want to play you what the Breakfast Club. I hadn't heard about this shooting actually until I heard this report. It's time for Donkey of the Day. And so yeah, we'll move forward. And I want to highlight these two cases because there is a rise once again the rise of the shooting of unarmed black men. We know that anything that
Yeah, it's Donkey of the Day for Thursday, May 7th. It goes to a 24-year-old Caucasian man named Anthony Trifaletti. Okay, warning, the mayonnaise is heavy on this one. And I know the smell of Hellmann's in the morning is nauseating for quite a few of us. Personally, I'm allergic. Let's just get right to it. Anthony has been charged with murder and a road rage shooting after getting into a verbal altercation with a black man, a brother named Doug Lewis. Rest in peace to Doug Lewis. Condolences to his family. May Allah be pleased with him. Now, Doug's sister Valerie told the Star Tribune that her brother Doug was a father of 4 who made a living as a delivery driver for 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Amazon, and DoorDash. That means he was an essential worker. Okay, the type of person that is truly making the world go around during this global pandemic. If your house is anything like mine, if your wife is anything like mine, then it's a damn Amazon box on the step all the time. Okay, thank you to all the Amazon delivery folks out there. You are appreciated. DoorDash is an absolute godsend during a time like this. People got to eat. Okay, and 1-800-GOT-JUNK at a time like this when people are at home quarantined, you do a lot of cleaning, find a lot of things you don't want. I'm thankful that these folks are still coming to pick things up and take them away from your house at a time like this. Salute to 1-800-GOT-JUNK, all right? Thank you to the essential workers who work at all of these places. You are valued and appreciated. And this morning, St. Paul, Minnesota is down a man because of Anthony Trifoletti's fear of the black man. Now, I hate rehashing these stories. I hate talking about these stories. I hate seeing these stories. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I have personally been holding up pretty well. I hope you are too. I have actually been rather calm during this whole coronavirus quarantine. I have learned to do something my therapist has been telling me to do for the past couple of years, and that's lean into the uncertainty of life. Stop stressing over things you can't control. I, for whatever reason, have embraced that concept and detached myself from this situation, and I have not had one anxiety attack. But all of that changed this week when that video of the young brother Ahmaud Arbery came out. I didn't watch that video because I know my trauma triggers, but I've heard what happened, and the thought of that triggers what I have told my therapist is blackanoia. I am a very blackanoid individual. What is blackanoia, Charlamagne? What do you mean you're blackanoid? Well, blackanoid is when you are black and paranoid in America. The paranoia that comes with just existing. All right, think about that. My presence, just me showing up in everyday life can cost me my life, okay? I will never, ever understand why someone can simply hate me because of the color of my skin, why someone can fear me just because of the color of my skin. Why am I such a threat to you? Okay, regular, smegular, everyday things that white people can do and go on about their day with could cost me my life, okay? Think about it. Ahmaud Arbery was jogging. He's an athlete. He's quarantined. High school football star. Taking care of himself, going for a run. Doug Lewis, essential worker, rear-ended Anthony's truck. Minor fender bender, according to city pages, okay? The accident occurred near the intersection of Highway 61 and Burns Avenue in St. Paul. The two drivers pulled onto exit, and they exited their vehicles. Anthony, the murderer, took pictures of the damage to his pickup truck and later told the police that the two men started arguing when he tried to get Lewis's insurance information. See, I hate stuff like this because Doug's not even here to tell his side of the story. But he told police, Anthony did, that they started arguing, right? And now here comes the mayonnaise. This is when the dukes get spread thick. All right, Anthony and his friend, because his friends were following him, his friend said they heard Doug Lewis say, "I'm a GD." That's what Anthony and his one friend said. They said they heard Doug Lewis say, "I'm a GD." Now, Anthony and his friend said they didn't know what that meant, but they took it to mean he was a gang member. Now, mind you, other witnesses said they didn't hear Doug say that, but you can smell the craft real mayo on this. You heard Doug say he was a GD, but you claim to not know what that is, but you think it meant he was a drug dealer. Anthony, if you don't shut the F up forever, if you don't know what GD is, and someone said that to you, "I'm a GD," you should have asked him, okay? If you truly didn't know what that was, you would have exhibited the cluelessness Caucasians usually do when it comes to cultures other than theirs, and just asked him if GD was the name of his insurance company, okay? You know exactly what you was doing when you told the police that. You was trying to paint a picture of this essential worker, all right? This essential worker with dreadlocks. He was trying to paint the picture of him as a thug, okay, to justify what your punk ass did next. See, Doug Lewis and Anthony both got back in their cars. Doug pulled out first, and Anthony says he unintentionally followed behind him. But Doug put his car in park and got out to say, "Well, what's up? What's going on?" Anthony grabbed the firearm he was permitted to carry and fired at Doug 4 times. Then he drove off as witnesses called 911 and tried to stop Doug Lewis's bleeding. Okay, an ambulance delivered Doug Lewis to Regents Hospital, where he was declared dead a few hours later. Anthony called his dad, told his dad what happened, and Anthony's dad told him to return to the scene of the crime. When he got back to the scene of the crime, he told police he feared for his life because Doug was reaching for his waistband as he approached the truck. Police say Doug Lewis was unarmed. Then Anthony said he left the scene in case he hadn't extinguished the threat. I'm glad his brother Doug Lewis didn't have a gun because it shows he wasn't a threat. But I wish he did have a gun because then maybe, just maybe, he might still have his life. Just like I wish Ahmaud Arbery had a gun when he ran into those 3 white thugs, those 3 white goons in Georgia. Okay, my brothers, my sisters, if you listen to your Uncle Charlotte at any point during this Mental Health Awareness Month, if I give you any, tools or tips that help with your mental health, please listen to this one. When I tell you that when you are black, owning a legal firearm in America is a form of self-care. It just is. It's better to get caught with it than get caught without it. I would much rather be in jail for defending myself than be in someone's funeral home laid up in a casket, okay? Now, Anthony is being held in Ramsey County Jail on a $1 million bond. Why do I got to drop on the clues bomb for that? Drop on the clues bomb for that. Okay.
Okay, I wanted to play that, and you heard that is the case of a St. Paul man shooting down a unarmed black man. His excuse was he thought the black man was a gang member. Okay, he fled the scene, then came back to the scene, and he wanted to see if the threat was extinguished. Meaning he wanted to make sure he was dead. Okay, and that is why I also have Rona Rage in the title of the video. Another reason why I have Rona Rage in the title of the video, because we are seeing a rise once again as the Rona starts to spread throughout the country. Even though they're trying to reopen parts of the country, we are now seeing a rise in young black men being gunned down. Another reason why they are now putting these stories back online is because they want to instill fear in Black America. They want you to remain docile. They want you to remain meek. They don't want you to fight for yourself or your community, your wives, your husbands, your children. They just want you basically to sit there and starve. And the reason why I say that, because we are undergoing a food shortage. Do you see what I'm saying? And anytime that anything upsets the status quo here in these United States of America, what is the first thing that they do? The first thing that they do when anything like this, such as this nature, happen in these United States of America, the Anglos go crazy. They go in rage. They start to feel like they have to eliminate anything that is going to stop them from surviving. Okay, the problem with Black people is we don't realize what's going on, and it takes us too long to respond. And if we do choose to respond, we are going to take the side with the Anglo, with the oppressor. Okay, even if you are saying that you are an activist, even if you are a gun owner, you are going to take the side of the oppressor, okay? Because you want to placate them. You are trying to let them know that, yes, master, I's not going to fight back. I'll just lay down and starve during this Rona Rage, okay? So you won't come hurt me. You know what I mean? We don't have any kind of sense of, we know that we don't have any real type of male leadership in this United States of America as it pertains to the Black community. Do you see what I'm saying? And the Anglo, the patty rollers, want to make sure that none of you men in particular will rise up and protect your community. And I'm saying that for a reason, because I'm going to show you a video of some Black armed activists. They're calling themselves activists that are protecting some of the Black lawmakers up in Michigan. We know that Michigan has become the battleground for the coronavirus lockdown. The Anglo wants to go back and work. He wants to restart the country. It doesn't matter if there are even more their cases have excelled. There are more people dying of the Rona. In Michigan as well as our other parts of the country where they are trying to reopen. Do you see what I'm saying? But even though, because we know that the Anglo works against anything that it makes any sense when it comes to saving their lives. That's why you have so many people protesting in Michigan. Okay, but as a result of that, there are several Black lawmakers in the state of Michigan, and some armed Black activists have decided to step in and escort some of these Black lawmakers, into the Capitol building, because these black politicians are afraid to walk in the building because of the protesting that's going on. Like I said, in Michigan, you see swastikas, you see nooses, you see them hollering Trump unity, and they came, they've come up into the Capitol building armed. These militiamen, these racists, these KKK members is what I call them. They're armed. They stormed the Capitol and all this and all that. But as a result of that, a few 5 or 6 armed Black activists have decided to help out some of these Black lawmakers, and they have decided to guard them as they're going into the building. So let me try to pull up this little quick video to show you what's going on in Michigan as it pertains to these armed Black men, and I think I saw a woman too, activists trying to protect these black lawmakers. One black woman in particular said that she was afraid because of all the racist rhetoric that's being displayed via these protesters that are protesting the stay-at-home lockdown orders in Michigan. And so, let me see if I can find it for you guys. The title of says is Armed Activists Escort Black Lawmaker into Michigan's Capitol After Coronavirus Protests. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can pull it up for you. You know, my computer be tripping. And good morning, everybody. If I haven't said it so far, good morning. Let's see if this will pop up for you guys. Hold on one second here. Let's see here. Try to get the visual up here. Okay. Yeah, it popped up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play this for you guys. So as you can see right there on the steps, these are armed black and brown peoples trying to protect Representative Sir Anthony, you know. And so let me click the video, let you see for yourself. Let's see. Okay. So that if you saw that, they said that six black and Latino armed activists escorted the lawmaker into the building. She was afraid. Let me read a little bit of what the article states. The article states that a a Michigan lawmaker. Hold on. Let me go back up and turn it down. Hold on a second. If I can get it turned down here, I will. Okay. Sorry about that. Says that a Michigan lawmaker returned to the state capitol on Wednesday with an armed security detail following a coronavirus lockdown protest at the building last week, attended by white supremacists and militia groups. Representative Sarah Anthony, a Democrat whose district is in the capital city, Lansing, told Yahoo News in an interview that her security detail, made up of local black and Latino activists, came together because the armed protesters bearing white supremacist symbols, represented a, quote, a different level of terror. According to Anthony, the April 30th protest was different from prior coronavirus protests that have occurred at the Capitol in recent weeks because many of the demonstrators stormed inside the building and were armed. Anthony also said some of the protesters had Confederate flags and swastikas. Are we surprised? Which she found extraordinarily triggering for me as an African American. That is what, as an African American woman, that is what Representative Sir Anthony had to say about that. If you scroll down, there's another photo. I don't know if you guys can see this. Hold on a minute. Let the computer. Yeah, here's a photo of the black and brown activists standing on the steps with Sir Anthony. This is that photo. Scroll down a little bit. There's another quote that says, quote, "It's a very intimidating environment," unquote, Anthony said. "I've just never experienced being so frightened and so intimidated in my life." The article goes on to state that Anthony posted a video to Facebook, which she filmed as the protest raged outside. Members of her community responded, and when Anthony returned to the Capitol on Wednesday for the first time since the demonstration, she was escorted by a group of 6 Black and Latino activists who carried their own guns. The article goes on to state that large conservative organizations have helped back the anti-lockdown demonstrations, which have taken place in at least 18 states around the country. Though the demonstrations are focused on pressing to lift coronavirus safety measures in order to boost economic activity, they have also attracted a wide variety of groups dedicated to other causes, including militia members, guns rights activists, as well as white supremacists. Okay, and we know that if you guys have seen, there's another video. I try to play it for you guys right here. Let me try to scroll down. We have seen those protests on the news, if you watch the news at all, and pretty much it looks like a big KKK meeting. That is what it resembles to me. You see what I'm saying? And that also goes to my case of we are undergoing another episode of Rona rage or white fragility or whatever you want to call it, because we know that anything that goes awry, anything that's beyond the norm, the status quo here in these United States of America, the racists are going to come out in droves because they want any reason to shoot your black ass down, basically. Okay, that's what's going on. Let me play this, and then we'll, if it'll show, and we'll just move forward, because I'm sure we're going along with time here. Let's see if you guys can see this. I just wanted you to see it. Yeah, this is the representative walking. She's being escorted by the black armed activist. It's just a little. Yeah, that's her. And there's really not much audio. They're just showing her being walked in, escorted by these armed activists. Now, my thing is, these are good people, black men, black women, stand your ground. You're absolutely right about that, March baby. What's so disturbing about this, now I'm glad that they were there to help her going to the building, because she is a female. She has a right to go to work without feeling these white supremacists are going to harm her in any way. Do you see what I'm saying? We all want to feel protected in this country as black people, but we know that more times than not, especially black women, we are left unprotected in this United States of America. Do you see what I'm saying? We don't have collectively any type of large groups of black people that are going to protect the community. Do you see what I'm saying? But what I found disturbing was they did rally up to protect, these black capital lawmakers, and that's cool in Michigan. But what about your own neighborhood? When white rage or white fragility or Rona rage, approaches your neighborhood, you see what I'm saying? What would you do? Will you bring out your rifles then to protect your neighborhood, or will you join forces with these militiamen and help them do whatever it is they're doing? Because we've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, I have anyway, of a few black men actually supporting these militia groups that are doing things like storming, these Capitol buildings and all of this and all of that. But what you're doing is supporting, racist hate groups. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what you're supporting. You're supporting the killing, the killing of black men and black women because they are gone Rona crazy. Do you see what I'm saying? Now that's what you're supporting, and it just amazes me that we don't have any empathy, for our own selves, our own people. But let me circle around real fast, because I want to play for you something that Dr. Joy Degruy said when it's concerning empathy for black people in these United States of America. But before I do that, I want to circle around real fast, if I could, and play what Benjamin Crump had to say about the Ahmaud Arbery case. Okay, because he spoke on the Breakfast Club about what's going to happen next or what should happen next. Do you see what I'm saying? So let me try to find that. And because see, a lot of people see we got a whole lot of new Negroes in this United States of America for whatever reason. Do you see what I'm saying? We got a whole bunch of new Negroes that would rather pick up arms and protect the Anglo rather than protecting their own interests in their own neighborhood. You see example after example of that sort of thing when you have these black people, being Trump supporters because you are supporting xenophobia and racism. Do you see what I'm saying? You are supporting the very people that want you gone. Do you see what I'm saying? And so it just amazes me when I see these black people, you're going to choose to take up arms to protect a few capital people, a few lawmakers, but you refuse to protect your own communities. You refuse to build your own communities, but you will be quick to follow behind the Anglo, okay, and pick up arms behind something like this. You know what I mean? So I am not impressed. I don't mean no harm. I am not impressed by them helping this lawmaker in the building. No, she does, her or any other black person, they don't have, they shouldn't have to feel afraid just to go to work, basically. You know what I mean? But you don't understand the system of white supremacy, racism. And because you don't understand the system of white supremacy, racism, that will cause you to think that you are doing a noble thing when you are picking up arms, 5 to 6 of y'all anyway, against thousands of these Anglo protesters. Okay. You would think that you are, doing a good thing when you are escorting your sister to work. Do you see what I'm saying? But you really are playing in the hands of white supremacy, racism, because you don't see these people picking up arms to protect their own communities and their own self-interest, even in the time, in this corona crazy time when food is going to, we're seeing more and more food shortages. Do you see what I'm saying? We're seeing more and more unemployment. And after a while, people are going to become very, very desperate. And so I want to see these armed activists pick up arms and protect their communities. Then and only then will I be impressed. Okay? And so let me play you what Benjamin Crump has to say about this. And I also want to play a little 2 or 3 minute thing from Neely Fuller. And the title of that is If You Don't Understand Racism, You Won't Understand Anything. And Neely Fuller is absolutely right about that. But first, let me circle back around and let you hear what Ben Crump has to say about this whole Ahmaud Arbery. I don't even know why I can't say his name. Situation, okay? And the title of this video is Attorney Benjamin Crump Talk Justice for Ahmaud Arbery and the Next Steps. So let me try to get it together here. Hold on 1 second. So I can just pull it up. We'll see what he had to say. And then we're going to listen to what Dr. Joy Degruy had to say about empathy when it comes to black people, melanated people.
Right now we have Attorney Benjamin Crump. Welcome, brother.
Hey, good morning, Amby. How you all doing?
My brother Ben Crump. What's happening, sir?
Hey, Charlemagne, Angie, it's a good day. We got the arrest last night. Ahmaud Arbery's family was able to sleep knowing that the killers that executed their son in broad daylight for simply jogging and being a black man are behind bars. And I know when the Georgia Bureau of Investigations notified us, his father said, it's a good birthday gift for Ahmaud, but I would rather have my son back.
Absolutely. Yeah, today's Ahmaud born day, right? Today, right?
Today, 26 years old, he would have been.
Wow. Now, how do we ensure conviction, man? That's the real gift. The real gift would be to get these 2 white devils under the jail. How does that happen?
Absolutely. And the next steps are literally this. Now that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said they were going to look at it with fresh eyes, and I know Lee and I and all our legal team said, if you're going to do that with this fresh out, don't take any information, don't take any of the reports from the local Southeastern legal and law enforcement community. Look at it with fresh eyes, because Charlemagne, we knew that if they looked at it with fresh eyes and looked at the video, the horrific video that we all saw, that was enough for probable cause to make the arrest, and we don't need to wait to June 12th like the prosecutor and the DA kept saying we had to wait. So we are grateful that they did look at it with fresh eyes. Now what they need to do is make sure that they investigate this sheriff's deputy who was the first ones on the scene that did not arrest them day one, that said they're going to take their word as the gospel that it was a burglary being committed. And Angie, think about it. These sheriff's deputies who didn't arrest them on day one are either incompetent or it was intentional. Because how could he be a burglar when there's no burglar bag, there's no burglar tools, there's no burglar mask? All he has on is a t-shirt and shorts. And they're going to take the word and then say that, nah, we're going to say he's a burglar and it's justified that y'all killed him. So they should be investigated and disciplined at best and fired if it was intentional, because there's that history there with Greg McMichaels being a 30-year law enforcement official in that community. And we call that bias and we call that discrimination, and that should be held accountable. So the next steps is we all need to keep calling the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and tell them your job isn't over. You got to arrest William Bryan, who was the third person who allegedly videotaped the murder, because he's an accomplice. It was aiding and abetting on this lynch mob. And so those sheriff's deputies need to be held accountable too. And the sheriff or whoever signed off on them not being arrested and going home to sleep in their bed that night after executing Ahmaud Arbery, they should be held accountable too.
Now I was going to ask, you just said that the family's tied to the judicial system in Georgia. How do we make sure the people investigating this case, the people that are prosecuting this case, and the people that are defending this case are not tied and not friends and not, good old boys? I look out for you because you looked out for me before. How do we make sure that it's really fair?
And that is our main concern, Envy, because there were two prosecutors who already said they had a conflict of interest. This third prosecutor, we think he needs to have a special prosecutor working on the case or step aside, because remember, he was the person who had this video that we saw a couple of days ago. He saw it from day one when he got the case, but yet he still said, I don't have enough information to make an arrest. I got to give it to the grand jury to consider charges. Well, we don't want that prosecutor because he's already shown him, he's revealed himself where he believes how he's going to try to technically sweep it under the rug, because they love to send it to the grand jury and say, well, we presented the case to the grand jury. They found no probable cause for an indictment, even though we all saw the probable cause with our own eyes.
And what about their actions after they killed Ahmaud Arbery and going on social media and bragging about it? Is that taken into account during this time now too?
Well, Angie, one of the things that we believe should absolutely be taken into account is their mindset. They teach us in first year law school about malice of forethought, which means evil intent in your mind when you commit an act. And so I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that when this murderous duo of this father and son got in that pickup truck with a shotgun and a .357 Magnum and went and hunting this young unarmed black man, that they had good intent. They had evil intent in their mind. They had malice of forethought, and that is an element of murder. And so we believe that we can construe all their actions, not only before the execution of Ahmaud Arbery, but afterwards. The fact that they gave statements that I'm absolutely certain, because we saw the police report, that is not consistent with what we see on that video, because that video is very clear how they pursue him all through that community. And so if their statements don't match up to that, then it is further evidence that they are guilty of murder, and they should be put under the jail, because we know if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Ahmaud Arbery and his father in that truck, and they went on a pickup truck with that kind of firepower, and they pursued Greg McMichael's son and shot and killed him in broad daylight, that they would have been arrested, and it wouldn't have took 74 days, and Charlamagne, they would not have been given a bond. They would still be sitting in jail today, Angie.
Right. Wow. Well, Ben, I want you to answer this in 45 seconds or less because you got to go to break. But I can't stop seeing the similarities between the Trayvon Martin case and Ahmaud Arbery case. You represented Trayvon Martin. How do we ensure that a jury doesn't let these guys off the way they let Zimmerman off?
Well, certainly zealous prosecution, special prosecutor, and Charlamagne. I would tell you the similarities are eerie between Trayvon and Ahmaud. When you think about both of them were killed in February, Trayvon February 26, 2012, Ahmaud February 23rd, 2020. The fact they were both accused of burglary. Trayvon and the gated community, and Ahmaud in the Tina Shores community. Both of their killers alleged, even though they had guns, that they had to kill these unarmed black men in some kind of act of self-defense. The fact that both of the prosecutors in Sanford, Florida, with Trayvon said he had an alleged conflict of interest, and then in Ahmaud, in Brunswick, Georgia, they said they had alleged conflicts of interest. The fact that the state police in in Florida with Trayvon, Florida Department of Law Enforcement had to take over the investigation before there was an arrest. The fact in Brunswick, Georgia, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the state police had to take over before there was an arrest. The fact that in both cases, the killer of Trayvon and the killers of Ahmaud got to go home and sleep in their bed at night. The fact that there was not an arrest in Trayvon for weeks, there was not where public got quiet. The fact that there was not an arrest in Ahmaud for weeks without great public cry. And then this is a huge one here, Angie and Charlamagne Envy. The fact that they all had these quasi-law enforcement relationships. You know, with Trayvon's killer, he was the head of the Neighborhood Watch volunteer, but also his father was a magistrate judge. We have to remember that. And then you think about Ahmaud, Greg McMichaels, the father, was a police officer, and he was a 30-year detective for the district attorney's office. And so you take all that into account. And then the fact that both of the pursuits were captured objectively with evidence. Trayvon audio, we heard the pursuit. We heard the shots. Now with Ahmaud, we see and witness with our eyes the pursuit and the shots. So the huge difference between the two is the fact that we witnessed everything with our own eyes in Ahmaud Arbery's case, and the fact that Corey Jones, I'm optimistic cautiously, because Corey Jones in Palm Beach, Florida, Charlamagne, that was featured in the Super Bowl ad, who we represented, with a church drummer who was broke down on the side of the road, who the undercover police officer in a t-shirt, jeans, and a baseball cap and an unmarked cargo van came and killed him and lied about it. But because he was on the phone with the tow truck driver, it captured the recording. And so that's the only way he didn't get away with murder. And an all-white jury in Palm Beach, Florida convicted him and sent that police officer away for 25 years. And then in Marquise McLaughlin's case in Clearwater, Florida, another white man who's trying to take the law into his own hands and impose his will on black people, he said that they parked in a handicapped parking spot, and he killed Marquise McLaughlin in front of his 3 young children, his 5-year-old son, his 3-year-old daughter, and his 1-year-old nephew. It was so hard because he falls, and his son is reaching out to him. Right. An all-white jury in Clearwater, Florida, convicted him, sent him away for 25 years. And then Lee Darrell Washington and I represented Hotham John and the Amber Geiger case, where the white police woman went into the alleged wrong apartment and killed him. A jury convicted her, and she got sentenced to prison only for 10 years, but she got sentenced. So in the recent cases, Charlamagne, that I've been involved in, these high-profile cases, we have been getting the prosecutors to do their job so we can get convictions, and the jury, because they had the evidence, wouldn't let them pull the wool over their eyes. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but we got to stay on them, because this is South Georgia, and if you look at that video, it was not 2020, it was more like it was 1920.
That's right.
Well, thank you for checking in. We definitely appreciate you.
Yes.
And you do.
Okay, so you heard what Ben Crump had to say about this, and he just named off, many black men that have been gunned down, many unarmed black men that have been gunned down over the years, and really nothing is being done on the governmental level. You know what I mean? When it comes to the killing of unarmed black men, we've seen it many times. To the point to where even us as black people have become desensitized to these random, well, not so random, these very orchestrated acts of violence at the hand of the patty rollers, right? And the reason why a lot of us have become desensitized to this, even as black people. And hey, Cloud, I don't know if I had said it or not, but good morning, Cloud. I don't even know if I said it. Good morning, baby. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I don't know if I said it earlier, but I meant to. But the reason why a lot of us, even us, especially us black people, have been desensitized is because they will put these killings, on TV one after another, but how many cases do you not see on TV, that are not televised? Would we have even been aware? And I know I wouldn't have even been aware of this Ahmaud Arbery case if somebody watching my channel, what's her name? Ronnie Q didn't bring it up to me because this has been going on since February. I hadn't even heard about it until she said something about it. And shortly after that, more people start speaking about it on social media. You know what I mean? The tape resurfaced. Come to find out, the law enforcement officers, the district attorney's office have had this case in their possession of this tape since February, to the point to where they're thinking about charging the shooter of the video, the person that shot the video. They're wanting to see if they can bring him up on charges too. I also didn't know that they had been bragging about it. These lynchers have been bragging about this on social media. Now I'm assuming that's how the video was exposed, because they were at first saying that it was an anonymous video that was released. I didn't know that the police had it, for months, for as long as they've known about this killing. I had no idea that was going on. But the longer this story sheds light, along as we start to learn more and more about this investigation anyway, the more we learn. And it's clear by now, it should be clear to everybody, that this man was, pretty much modern day lynched. He was gunned down. He was stalked. They seen him walking past the house. They got in their trucks. They sped up past him. They blocked him, from running any further with their trucks, got out the car and shot the man with a rifle. And it is on video. I played it on the video. My last video, I played that the videotaping of what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. But even then, and even though they've had this case forever, it's just now light being shed on it. You know why there's just now light being shed of it? Because nobody intended on doing anything about it. Do you see what I'm saying? At all, until there's been such a public outcry. And only then, when people started talking about it on social media, did the tape surface. And they've had the tape forever. Do you see what I'm saying? Clearly, this man was executed. Like Benjamin Crump said, via the video, and nothing was going to be done about it. So I'm not going to hold my breath when it comes to justice concerning this young black man who would have turned 26 today, being gunned down in the street like a dog. Do you see what I'm saying? It's horrible. You know what I mean? And yes, the guy was taping was an accomplice. Yes, that's what they're saying. They're saying the guy that taped it was an accomplice. And I'm like, wow, really? Klaus said, no problem, Auntie. Oh, I always say it. White supremacy never takes a day off. You're absolutely right about that. I'm glad you wrote that. Not even during a pandemic. That's right. They're going Rona crazy. We're dealing with Rona rage. Do you see what I'm saying? I absolutely agree, Cloud. If anything, they double up. They sure do. That's what our people need to be doing. Yes, that's right. That's what we need to be doing. You're absolutely right about that. I absolutely agree. Do you see what I'm saying? Hey, I said, oh yeah, of course they've been bragging. They can't help them. No, they can't help themselves. You're absolutely right. The savages can't help themselves. No, they cannot. That's how white supremacists get down. Yeah, they're so proud of themselves for doing that. But let me play you a little bit of what Neely Fuller said, and then we're going to talk about. I'm going to play you what Jane Degruy says about empathy when it comes to melanated people. But this is 3 minutes long. The title of this is if you don't understand racism, you won't understand anything. And this is from Neely Fuller. And a lot of our people, because we have been desensitized, do you see what I'm saying? Because we don't know who we are as as a people anymore. You know, you got people online, like I said earlier, you know, uplifting these militia groups, uplifting white supremacy racism. Why are you uplifting white supremacy racism when white supremacy racism, these white supremacists are charged like the patty rollers to kill your black ass? That's what I don't understand. Why are you big upping them? Do you see what I'm saying? They think it's cool when they see the militia groups and the white supremacist group storm these Capitol buildings, all of this and all of that. You know what I mean? They think it's cool for that to be done. Don't you know this whole system was set up against you? Do you see what I'm saying? We spend so much time on social media, especially in Black YouTube, going at each other. And we call ourselves, you know, Black media. But why aren't more people even interested in the Ahmaud Arbery case? You know why Black people aren't interested anymore? 2 reasons. Number one, we've been desensitized. And number two, most of us don't even care about us anymore. But you don't even understand the reason why you don't care about your own people is because you have been hypnotized and assimilated into having a white supremacist mindset. That's why you don't see more people speaking out about this as well as other cases. Do you see what I'm saying? So how can you say you have any, you're doing your platform from a Black standpoint, and the only thing you're interested in is roasting and gagging or going back and forth with one another? You know, when I first came on, real quick, when I first came on YouTube, you know, we had a lot of channels in this Black sector that spoke on issues concerning Black people. Now it's gone down. It's dissolved into nothing more than Black folks doxing other Black folks. Black folks, speaking derogatorily about other Black folks. Black men saying that they want to see Black women, pretty much gone off the face of the earth, lying dead, in a pool of their own blood. And you got all kind of that, all this and all that going on, on Black YouTube right now. Do you see what I'm saying? But what you don't have, and what you don't see is a lot of videos concerning cases like this. Okay, we have a lot of Black men that are promoted more so than Black women in the Black sector of YouTube, and the only thing they speak about is violence against the Black woman or destroying the Black community, while the whole time the whole world is coming down around your ears, and the only thing you can think about is trying to harm one another. Do you see what I'm saying? And so anyway, that is, like I said, that is why you have a white supremacist mindset, but you are a Black person. That is also a tool used in the toolbox of white supremacy racism. Okay, even when it comes to those armed Black people, escorting that Black lawmaker, that woman into the office, that is still a white supremacist mindset. Because if you want to truly protect your Black women, you will have an armed guard every time a Black one come out the door, a Black woman come out the door with her children and walk down the street and trying to go to the grocery store, especially during a time like this. You won't have time to be online, debasing and disrespecting in a very petty, feminine way other Black women. You don't have time to do that. You know why you wouldn't have time to do that? Because you would be too busy protecting your Black community. That's what you would be doing. So I'm not going to get on here and sing praises to these few Black men that protected this Black woman while she was going to work. But when it comes to your own community, you can't do the same thing. I'm not impressed. Okay, so anyway, let me play this little thing from Neely Fuller. Let me cue it up here. If I can play it. Let's see. There we go.
And then after thinking about it,
let me rewind it.
I said that statement initially, and then after thinking about it for a year or two, I decided I was going to modify it and say, if you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand, I dropped the think, everything else that you understand, that you do understand, will confuse you. And how did I come to that conclusion? Based on logic. Because since white supremacy is a system that dominates everything that non-white people do 24 hours a day, in every area of activity, not just in some. It's not a partial thing. That's why it's supreme. That's why you call it white supremacy. If it was partial, you couldn't call it supreme because it means they left something out. So I came up with the 9 areas of activity that would cover what everybody is doing each and every minute of each and every day in one or more of these areas of activity. And I just came up with an orchestrated way of expressing it. And I call those 9 areas economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And I think that just about covers just about everything that every person is engaged in, minute by minute, day by day, anywhere on the planet at any given time. White people, non-white people, male, female, etc. They're engaged in one or more of these areas of activity, and all of these areas of activity are interrelated. Then I looked at the people who call themselves white supremacists and the system that they have set up. And they have set up a system that's designed to dominate and mistreat people of color. That's what racism is, or white supremacy is. People set up to mistreat and dominate people of color, people who have been classified as non-white, in all of these areas of activity, all of the time. So therefore, if the victims of this system, which is an incorrect and an unjust system, an unjust government, that's what it is. If the victims of this system are dominated in all of these areas of activity, then if they don't understand the one government that dominates everything that they do in all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war, then they are not going to understand anything, because that's the thing that they are responding to all day long, everywhere that they are. You have to respond or react to the thing that dominates what you do.
I want to. And that was Navy Fuller speaking on the subject of white supremacy, racism, and what really nobody, even us, can grasp how totally encompassing the system really is, especially as it pertains to our black people, as it pertains to us. It has a foot in everything that we are constantly being monitored as black people. Do you see what I'm saying? And we constantly being monitored, constantly being dumbed down. We know that we are so easy to trick when it comes to shiny objects. You know, you'll get 1 or 2 black people, and the Anglo will pat him on the back, and then he'll go out and pretty much, do the work for white supremacy, racism in his own community. And we see that on an everyday basis here on Black YouTube. And Black YouTube is an excellent microcosm when it comes to black folks shucking and jiving. Do you see what I'm saying? For the man. Because like I said, we see a lot of that going on. Every time you hear somebody big up in Donald Trump, for instance, in Black YouTube, you know what I'm saying? They like what he speak on. They like what he stand for. That is your black ass shucking and jiving for the man, to the point to where you are unsympathetic to the plight of your own people. Do you see what I'm saying? And, especially when it comes to us beating down us. Now, we all like to roast and gag and all of this and all that. I know I do. I'm messy. But there are some people on YouTube that take this to a whole nother level. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's ridiculous. And that leads me to Dr. Joy Degruy. I know that a lot of you guys have heard of Dr. Joy Degruy. She wrote a book on post-traumatic slave disorder or post-traumatic slave syndrome. And in this part of the video that I want to play for you guys, she's speaking on empathy or lack thereof for black people in America. Okay, so let me try to pull this up. And this is why we are being desensitized to this kind of violence. We got a lot of sheep in our midst, especially as black people. When you become desensitized, when you think it's an everyday thing, when you don't bat an eye, when all of black YouTube is not in outrage every time something like this happens, that means that you have been desensitized. Your sheep have been put to sleep Okay, when it comes to the murdering of black people, being shot down in the streets like dogs. We've heard it so much from Trayvon Martin to Tamir Rice and Eric Garner. You've heard it time and time and time and time again to the point to where you think you ain't got a curve no more. Well, Dr. Degruy, I can play you the audio. I'm not going to play you the video, but she's really speaking about lynching and the lack thereof when it came to the lynching of black people in these United States of America. So let me try to cue this up. And we'll play this.
I think to myself, if I were up here in front of you right now, and this is going to become very important as you move into the other slides. If I stomped a puppy to death out here, up here, just a little puppy, stomped it right here to death in front of you, most of you would need therapy. And I would be arrested probably faster than killing a black man for killing the puppy. Now, I want you to look at this photo very closely. I want you to see who's in it. More important than the man hanging. Because you got to understand the lynchings that occurred in America happened after slavery, not during. Thousands of lynchings happened after slavery because this is a reaction to white fear of what we would do once freed. But we didn't create a vigilante group to take out white people, but they did create a vigilante group to take us out now that we're free. See, that happened after slavery. They were called the what? The Ku Klux Klan. They don't wear hoods anymore. They wear suits. But they're alive and well all over the world, even here. So look at who's in the picture. I want you to look at this little girl in particular. You can't see her closely, but she's actually grimacing, like smirking. Now, remember, let's go back to the puppy concept here. She would be loathed and torn up probably if this was a puppy, which means he's less than that. Because she's not disturbed. This little girl is not disturbed by this, but she should be, shouldn't she? People always ask me, they go, Joy, what was the impact on white people? There it is. Right there. Can't feel any empathy for him. None, zero zip. There's a little one back here, even smaller. Because whatever she's been taught or told, socialized to believe, makes him no longer human. That's the greatest danger to white people, is that they can't feel it. And there's a reason why white people can't feel what we're talking about. My God, what would you then feel? It's tough. So I've got to believe, oh, it's all over now. It's not my fault. I don't benefit. It's not a big deal. Let's move on. It's not all of those things. But we don't say that to Jewish people. I dare you. But you have to understand, when you unearth this one, that's what we did to our children. Let's move forward. This is a similar photo to the one that is used in Denzel's movie. Now, again, most important, this is a man that's being burned. Also, I won't read the depiction, but there are newspaper accounts of this. It's written in a book called 100 Years of Lynching by Ginsburg. No pictures, just newspapers that say not only did they burn him, they decapitated him, cut him into pieces, and used parts of his body as things to put on mantles. So people would say, get me a tongue, would you, or a liver, a little crisp, so I could put it on the mantle. Now, again, I want you to look at the folks. I want you to look at who's here. We're not talking about the toothless, big gut, hooded wonder, are we? We're looking at plain old, common, dressed up folks. They're squeezing, please, I want my picture taken. Are you following me? This is somebody's cousin, uncle, somebody. And the ability to do that, dehumanize this man and rob them of their humanity all at the same time. All at the same time. That is the most dangerous, treacherous thing that could happen. What did Hitler do? He dehumanized human beings, put babies in ovens. Anything that robs us of our humanity is a danger to everyone. And that is what's going on with people of African descent all over the world, because not only did it get done here, but who did we tell? The entire world we told These people don't deserve any value. Everyone wants to be American, not y'all. But when we go, I literally go to countries all over the world. America sets the standard, and thank God for what happened later. Let's move forward. So a lot of people start saying, well, y'all got free, right? Y'all are free, everything's fine. See, whenever you talk about post-max slave syndrome, people get locked there. So there's a myth that after slavery ended, the playing field was leveled. Was it? Remember, all the lynchings occurred after slavery. That wasn't during, after slavery. So you had black sharecropping. Now, we didn't get a lot of black history in our schooling. I have 4 degrees and 3 of them advanced degrees. Never did I get black history.
Yep.
I got about 2 pages of black history, and one page was a picture. And there was a picture of the little folks with the cabin. You probably saw the same picture. It's a little cabin, the little guy on the porch with a banjo, little children running, frolicking about, eating watermelon, right? Everybody happy. And we certainly need little Mary and little Johnny to believe that they were happy. The slaves were happy people. And they had a nice place to live. Because we couldn't have them feeling cognitive what? Not little Mary. She can't start questioning what Grandpa did. So I want you to see this because those are leftover slave quarters. He's a sharecropper. So now let's go back and take a look at sharecropping. Now these are folks that were slaves, no longer slaves, decided I'm going back to be a sharecropper on the same plantation that I was a slave. Why would you do that? You all heard about Katrina, yes? Yeah. See, I was there. My family's from Louisiana. I went to the 9th Ward. Sometimes you can't pay attention to what the news says. It's important to actually go eyeball what's going on.
That's right.
Which was very interesting because it was one of the most horrific events I'd ever seen and probably will ever see in my life. Well, black folks were just simply treated differently. Did you notice that? Here's the good news about Katrina. Everybody noticed it. So all the rest of the world where we learned, send us your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, your democracy, your equality. They said, what happened with that Katrina thing? All that stuff y'all talked about. Well, let me read this. This is from Associated Press, taken straight from the newspaper. In the front, actually, the top part here is actually a woman, but they think it's a man. Anyway, it says, a young man walks through chest-deep floodwater after looting a grocery store in New Orleans on Tuesday, August 30th, 2005. Same body of water down here, excuse me. 2 residents wade through chest-deep water after finding bread and soda from a local grocery store. Now, same event, same water. White people, black people. We've told you what you see now. That removes your what? Distance, because these people can't be perceived as looting. They're white people. White people don't loot. Now, the truth of the matter is, I don't care what any of them are doing. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to still the social conscience by letting you know, don't forget, this is a looter. Matter of fact, what you last heard was that they were looters and rapists. Did you not? So don't they deserve it? That wasn't back in, slavery though, was it? Now we're going to kind of move into operationalizing that to look at what is it, how do we begin to connect that behavior, that history to what we're dealing with and what you're dealing with right now and what we're seeing. And very often people say, well, is everything post-traumatic slave syndrome? Obviously that would, trivialize all the work. We cannot lay squarely on the shoulders of post-traumatic all the problems that we see, nor can we place all the problems squarely on the shoulders of white people or any of the above. So hopefully we won't digress into anything that is that foolish in terms of a discussion. Because, that's another thing that happens in terms of trying to deal with the pushback around this. Then we move into extremes, and it tends to dilute the realities that are going on. So hopefully we're way beyond all that. Well, now she's saying everything is post-traumatic. No, I'm not. And most of my work, my background is really in the field, doing work in the community and grassroots. That's where my training was in terms of my clinical work, and just the fact that I've always been. This work started on the ground. It didn't start here. Matter of fact, I got the attention of places like Oxford and Harvard, and the Ivy League and major institutions, even the FBI. But those were things that happened after I started doing the work on the grassroots level. And so it's, for me, my commitment is to healing. So this is not an exercise in some kind of broad intellectual esoteric. It's really about how do we then take this information and help a person extricate themselves from behavior that they've learned and or been socialized to believe, black and white and everyone in the middle that's been affected by this. What do we do? So this is kind of looking at the contemporary kind of reflection of the trauma, which is white supremacy and terrorism. That continues. We see that on a daily basis in the United States as well as here. This book is called Breaking Rank by Norm Stamper. Norm Stamper is a 34-year police veteran. He was a chief of police for the cities of San Diego and Seattle.
So I'm going to stop right here. I just want to let you play a little bit, listen to a little bit of what Dr. Degruy had to say as it pertains to empathy, when it comes to black people, when it comes to the lynching and murders of black people, and how the system of white supremacy would trick you into becoming desensitized when you see something like what happened to Ahmaud Arbery or Trayvon Martin or Tamir Rice or Eric Garner or Castile or whoever. Do you see what I'm saying? They are showing you these images in order to keep you afraid. They are showing you these images, to keep you docile. They are showing you these images to make you think that it is commonplace when you see a black person being gunned down, unarmed and defenseless. It is trying to trick you into thinking that you cannot even protect yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? And if they can keep you from thinking, keeping you afraid and thinking that you have no recourse, you cannot protect yourself, they can pretty much ride roughshod all over you. And I also want to play that little piece from Dr. Degruy because she spoke about Hurricane Katrina. Do you see what I'm saying? And we also have a horribly black residents of New Orleans were treated, Louisiana in particular, were treated, under the after effects of Hurricane Katrina. Do you see what I'm saying? We all saw the images of how poorly black people were treated, especially socioeconomically depressed black people, how poorly they were done, how poorly they were treated, but they were treated badly. Were in the midst of them being mistreated and dehumanized. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they would show you pictures of black women on their menstrual cycles. They didn't have any pads, and they would show, just all of those images, children, hungry and dirty and scared. They showed you pictures of how they packed all these black people in that stadium and told you all of the crimes that were going on in that stadium. All of that is being put out by mass media to desensitize you, to not even get you to care about you, to get you to hate yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? And Slayer Jim said they are still teaching their kids. They are absolutely still teaching their kids this, to the point to where on TikTok, I think I'm going to do a video about TikTok, where if you guys are familiar with the TikTok app, there's a lot of racism going on the TikTok app, and a lot of blackface going on, a lot of what do they call it, black fishing or whatever going on. And all of these videos are by young people, not the 40 and 50-year-old, white supremacists. They think it's cool, to put on blackface and mock black people. It is because they have been desensitized. To them, we are not human, young and old. And you got a lot of young people really thinking that we live in a post-racist America. We live in a post-racial world, to the point to where they want to cozy up with the Anglo and make babies with them. And you sleeping with your enemy, and you don't even have enough sense to realize it. Do you see what I'm saying? Those are the things that we very rarely talk about on Black YouTube anymore. Nobody wants to talk about. You have even been desensitized on Black YouTube on your own plight. Do you see what I'm saying? Like all of my videos, if I'm roasting and I'm gagging somebody, and Cloud mentioned that, you get very little views on videos like this, but you get a whole lot of views when I'm going at another black person, when I'm roasting you and I'm gagging you to the point where it's not even fun anymore. It's just an all-out battle now, and I don't even like to engage in the roasting and gagging because it ain't fun no more. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I realize that the reason why it ain't fun no more is because you got black people on here really trying to destroy black people. Do you see what I'm saying? And it don't even make no sense. Let me cut this down for a minute. It don't make no sense to the levels that we go to, destroy one another. And the reason why we do that is because we have been desensitized, to one another's plight. What's that? I heard a song on that Boondocks thing that Uncle Ruckus singing, "Don't trust them new Negroes over there." Do you see what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of new Negroes that I don't trust on this social media plight. They come in the effort of saying they want to, uplift the black community, come in the name of pro-blackness, and the only thing they're trying to do is use it as a con, and run you down. You can't say this, that, and the other, because under their rules of what pro-blackness is, the only thing that they really want to uplift is the hustle. Okay, is the dehumanization of one black person to another black person. You know what I mean? And if you on, and you got to have a thick skin if you on black YouTube, because they're going to come out swinging against you. Okay? Everything derogatory in the world that they can use to desensitize you to the plight of to your brother or sister, that is what they are going to employ. You know why? It's because they have been hypnotized into a white supremacist mindset. Do you see, to the point where they are actually praising white supremacists and militiamen for going to Michigan to protest the state capitol? They are worshiping black men on here, are worshiping other races of men's patriarchy. Do you see what I'm saying? They want to replicate the Anglo man's patriarchy when it comes to the black woman. The black man has become so emasculated under this system of white supremacy racism. Either they want to become you, black woman, or they want to dominate you. They want you to be submissive to their will, and we know their will is only the will of the white man. Okay, that is why you have black women refusing to be submissive to something that is not a man anyway. Why do I have to submit to you? And you want to be feminine like me? That don't make no sense. You're roasting and gagging with me on a female level. That means you in competition with me. Why would I submit to you? Furthermore, why would I listen to anything you say, black man, when you don't even know who you are? You don't know who you are your own self. Do you see what I'm saying? But you got all of this and all of that going on at the same time when you got these white supremacists and these Anglo men taking videos of white men running down and killing other unarmed black men. Do you see what I'm saying? But you want to worship his patriarchy. Do you see what I'm saying? The only thing you want to talk about is a freaking relationship status. The whole world is coming down around you, and the only thing you can focus on is some bull crap. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I can't roast and gag like I used to, and I refuse to play with these ignorant fools around here that don't get the big picture. Yes, we all have always, as a people, gone back and forth with one another. That is how we relate. That is how we trauma bond. That is how we familiarize ourselves through trauma, through doing little things like that. Do you see what I'm saying? But to the point to where it gets destructive, and you're no longer talking about real things mixed in with the roasting and gagging, and you have you have taught your followers or hypnotized your followers into thinking that the only thing that's worth looking at on YouTube is some bull crap. You are working for the man. Okay, you are working for white supremacy, racism. And I often sit back and look at a whole lot of these videos. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially the ones that dox and want to delve into your life and, want to try to shut down your channel. And when you are talking about something other than going at another black person's throat, I be thinking, who sent you? I don't trust that new Negro over there. Okay? And that is why I don't get along with a lot of these people, because I don't trust these new niggas. Okay? Because when it comes time to talk about something important, you would rather sit on a panel or do video after video about something that's really not important at all. And do you know why? It is because you don't know who you are. Okay, then you'll get somebody like me. I've heard them on panels before. Oh, she talk to people like she their mama. Oh, she do this and she do that. Why? Why do you feel that way? Because you don't like the tone of my voice, or you don't like the realness and what it is that I'm trying to tell you. You don't know who you are, nigga. So until you know who you are, you sure as hell can't tell me nothing, okay? That is my issue with Black YouTube, okay? Because we don't even talk about anything of relevance, not really anymore anyway, because we have been so consumed by these agents of chaos, okay? That want to teach you that the only thing that's important in the Black community is you destroying another Black person. So to me, you're a fucking agent. I said it. I said what I said, and that's what I meant. Do you see what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. Sometimes it is not the time to be playing with people. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the time. You got Black people over here poverty shaming other Black people. Like your ass got 6 or 7 figures. And if you really got 6 or 7 figures and you got time to poverty shame a single mother or a person doing whatever it is they're doing to survive, to live day by day, if you got time to do all of that and you one of these six-figure uppity-ass Negroes, why you ain't got time to go back to your damn community and help out and put feet on the ground, you know, and help out your own people? But you got time to travel to other places to go buy sex from sex workers. But you got time to do that, right? Yeah, you got time to do that. But you don't have time to tell somebody something, your fellow man something, instruct him as to what it means to actually be pro-Black. And that simply means to care about the betterment of your people. You got Black people on here trying to dox people's life, like I said, and poverty shame people, but then the other side of your mouth, you pro-Black. Y'all see how that work? You a fucking agent, okay? Because never would I ever poverty shame anybody, and never would I ever, try to, dox you and call you out on however it is that you are choosing to make it. You even got Black people on YouTube preying on other Black people. Do y'all know that there's a lot of people on YouTube when they doxing you, they're really trying to find out your personal information in order to steal your identity or try to find out your bank account and try to steal, something out of your bank account or like I said, trying to steal your identity so that they can go, hustle, do something else, unlawful in your name. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't want to tell you who they are, but they want to peep game, but they want to know who you are, your whole life story, how you living and everything else to find out if you got something that they want to steal from you. Do you see what I'm saying? You see how that works? That's what's really going on in this community. That's why I don't trust these new Negroes, okay? At the end of the day, because I don't trust you because you simply do not know who you are. Because if you knew who you were, you would not be conducting yourself in such a manner. And like I said, even here on YouTube, they uplift, they have allowed the trolls to come in and dominate the conversation. We no longer even have the conversations that we used to have 2.5 years ago. Okay, this whole Black sector of YouTube is the woke sector. Okay, don't try to section off the beef sector over there because the whole thing is a beef and a roast and a gag sector. Because ain't nobody really talking about nothing but beef anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? And to answer your question, Cloud, that's why you don't get a lot of people watching these videos over here. Okay, and it don't make no sense. Sometimes you need to come up from, take your hands out from under the cover. Get your mind right, okay? And talk about what's really going on. Because it don't matter if you destroy and dox every Black person on the freaking planet. Your ass still going to be Black, and they still going to kill your Black ass too, okay? I'm just saying. at the end of the day. But we don't never have those conversations. You know, you got pseudo intellectual people talking about all kind of bullshit that really is not relevant at all. Okay, because if you are black in America, you are supposed to understand the plight of your people. And if you can't speak to the plight of your people in an everyday way, in an everyday having an everyday conversation, you know, you got people on here who want to tell you, want to Google information about, whatever, Operation Mockingbird or the COINTELPRO. What about not Googling that information and just discussing your own plight? What is it like for you to be black in this United States of America? Okay, why don't you want to talk about that? Okay? That is what's going to impress me. If you say you pro-black. All right? You too busy on here trying to defend yourself about some bullshit that you done started your own self. You see how that works? It don't make no difference. It don't make no sense to me. But anyway, I don't trust them new niggas. I don't trust you if you don't know who you are. Okay? I don't trust you if you're trying to run game. All right? That's why you don't see me twerking in these people's chats. Okay? And if you see me on a panel, it's for a reason. All right? It ain't just because I'm co-signing nothing. Because I don't co-sign nothing but me. That's who I co-sign. All right? For future reference. I'm just saying. But anyway, I'm going to play a little of this from Minister Farrakhan. And this audio, then I'm going to get off here because we don't went over an hour, but I don't come on over here anyway, and I just felt like talking about it today, and then, you got a lot of people that don't even understand what it means to be black, and they are black, so they cannot relate to these types of conversations. Do you see what I'm saying? The only thing they can relate to is a whole bunch of bull crap. And I don't have time to play with people every single freaking all day, But anyway, let me cue up this so I can play this for you guys. And we can get out of here. But let's listen to a little bit of Farrakhan since we're talking about it. Anyway, the title of this video is Who Are You? Okay? This is from Farrakhan's Million Man March speech, I believe. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me try to cue it up.
So look, tonight, just for the few minutes we're going to be here, let's see if we can get some directions for life that create love.
The video kind of low. You might want to put your headphones on if you can't hear it.
The first thing I want to talk to you about is who you are. So you'll have greater expectation. Jesus said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
So is he.
If somebody can make you think you are nothing, how do you act?
Like you ain't nothing. That's right.
So the skill of the slave master, if I can get my slave to think he's nothing and I'm everything, then he'll look to me and not to himself.
Only y'all commercial. And that's what you see on YouTube all the time. He think the slave master is everything when he praising him for taking up arms in the Capitol building because that Anglo man, even though thousands of people are dying every day from corona, he want to go storm the Capitol building to get the country back open, even though he really hustling against his own mortality. You think that's cool. You think that's what you want to do. So what you go do, you go pick up you some arms, your black ass, and go escort some black lawmakers into the building, because that's what you see Massa doing, right? You see Massa up at the courthouse with these guns and these swastikas and these rebel flags. So you feel like you're going to pick up a couple of guns and go to the Capitol and doing the same thing. But what you don't emulate when it comes to the Anglo is you don't emulate the fact that the Anglo is going to stick with the Anglo at the end of the day. That's what you don't emulate. Okay?
And if you look at us, we don't think much of ourselves. Why? Because we don't really know who we are, therefore you don't know what to expect of yourself. When you're robbed of your history, see, you don't know what you did, what your fathers did in life, so you really don't know what you're capable of doing. So when people cut you off from your past, they really cut you off from life's tree. You're a fruit that don't know the root. Then maybe you might not be the fruit that you think you should be. So let's see who we are. Now, the Bible and the Quran, both books, talk about Adam as the father of all human beings. Bible says Adam, Quran says Adam. Well, let's start with him, since that's where it all begins. And God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Stop right there. That's a powerful statement. If you and I are made in the image and the likeness of God, then when I look at you, who am I looking at? Oh, I want you to think before you talk now. I'm going to say it slower. If you are made in the image and the likeness of God, when I'm looking at you, who am I looking at? Now, how does Jesus square with that? Would Jesus say, Farrakhan, don't mislead these people any further. You know doggone well you ain't looking at God when you look at them. Jesus wouldn't say that. Jesus said, how can you love God whom you have never seen? Oh, it's in the scriptures. And hate your brother whom you see every day. Now check this out.
Let me pause right there. He asked a good question. How can you love God who you ain't never seen, but you hate your own brother to the point to where you want to destroy him? Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's where we're going. You know why? Because you don't know who you are. That's why he asked that question. All right? That is exactly why he asked that question. Because you don't know who you are. You have no chill. You have been assimilated into a white mindset. You don't know who you are. Especially the black man. You've been so asleep so long, you don't even know how to lead your own damn community. Okay? You would rather spend your time going back and forth with women. If you are supposed to be the head, why are you going back and forth with a woman instead of claiming your rightful place? You know why? Because you hate yourself. Because you don't know who you are. Let's continue. Hold on.
Now, what is Jesus saying? He's saying that the same thing that you love in God is sitting right up in your brother, for your brother and you were made in the image and the likeness of God. You can't see it now because we're all acting the fool. But that's not who you are. That's what circumstances have made of you under wrong guidance. But if you were rightly guided, you would manifest God so that when I see you, I would see God. Now let's look at this. Where's your proof of that, Farrakhan? Jesus said, when the disciples asked him, Master, when were you hungry and we fed you not? When were you naked and we clothed you not? When were you out of doors and we gave you not shelter? When were you sick and in prison and we ministered not unto you? Then Jesus said, inasmuch as you have not done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you have not done it also unto me. He took the least and made him his brother. Whoa. Whoa. Look at this now. You mean you the brother of Jesus? You have to be. When they said, Master, teach us how to pray, he said, pray on this wise. Our Father. Wait, now let's stop right there. Stop right there. He's telling you, my Father is your Father. You are not the children of a lesser God. The same Father that fathered my life, fathered your life. So how in the world can you not have respect for yourself when you are the brother of Jesus? Man made in the image and the likeness of God. David the psalmist said, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. Well now, I'm a young God or an older God, and you are a God. So when I serve you, I'm serving God. When I do right by you, I'm doing right by God. When I mistreat you, I'm mistreating God. If I'm unjust to you, I'm unjust to God and to myself. Why do you say this, Farrakhan? You can't equate nothing or no one with Allah. Yes, nothing or no one is equal with Allah. But Allah created all of us to reflect Him. Otherwise, how can you wear Allah's name? What justifies you to be Muhammad, Hassan, Hussein, Kareem? These are the names of God. Well, why should you wear a name of God if you can't reflect that attribute in your life? God don't make you to reflect less. Man and woman is above everything in creation. You are greater than the sun, greater than the moon, greater than the stars. They live longer, but they can't think. It serves you, the sun does. You have power to will and bring into existence what you will. That power is not given to no creature in the universe, but the man and the woman made in the image and likeness of God. Animals cannot will and bring into existence their will. Animals can't vision and bring into reality their vision. Sun can't do it, moon can't do it, stars can't do it, mountains can't do it. They're stronger than you, they outlive you. But you can master them. They cannot master you. that you are a long, long way from what God intended for us to be. First thing God gave man was power. First thing the slave master took from us was power.
Thanks.
Second thing God gave us was dominion. Second thing they took from us was the ability to rule ourselves. They had to be our ruler. They had to be our master. So when they are the ruler, they lay down the rules. So the rule that they laid down for us were rules that pleased them, not necessarily God. So those are the rules of life that you've been following. Not what God laid down, but what your former slave masters and their children lay down for you. That's not adequate. In fact, it's not right. So there got to be a change of masters.
I'm going to stop right here. We're coming up on 2 hours. But he is absolutely right. You don't know who you are. There's got to be a change of masters until you start to realize who you are, until you realize that because of your melanin, that is what gives you dominion over this whole world and not people that lack melanin. Until you have more confidence in yourself, we will always be in this place right here. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like we're going backwards instead of forwards. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to be everything except for who you are, to the point to where the non-melanated people want to put on your black face and want to be everything that you are culturally. You know, the singing and the dancing and the looking like and the booties and the lips and the whatever. You know, they want to be everything that you hate. And you ain't got sense enough to know that you have dominion over them because they want to be like you until it's time for them to be you. Do you see what I'm saying by that? That's why we would never understand what it is that we are in doing, especially, throughout the diaspora. I'm not even going to say just in the United States of America. We simply do not know who we are. We simply do not care, who we are. It seemed to me like, because if you cared about who you were, you would be trying to big up. That's the very same thing that's trying to destroy you. I never understood it, and I don't understand how black people, for example, support a xenophobic president. That is incredible to me. You know why? But I get it. It's because you don't know who you are. You don't love who you are. But anyway, I'm gonna get off of here. And I just want to play a little bit of that from Farrakhan, and because he asked a absolute appropriate question. Who are you? Who are you, black man? Who are you, black woman? You see what I'm saying? Now we know that we can roast, we can dance, we can do athletics, we can whatever. But who are you really? Do you know why you possess this melanin in your skin? Do you know that you are chosen for a reason? Do you know why you don't choose to walk in your dominion? Is it because you're too worried about what the slave master gonna say? Is that why you refuse to walk in your dominion? These are all questions that we need to ask ourselves, especially when things pop up like what happened to Ahmaud Arbery, or things pop up when they killing our kids like Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice. Especially during this time of storm, when the whole country is going broke and going hungry, and the men in your community are being shot down in the streets like dogs, and they fail to protect themselves, but they praise other men's patriarchy. That is an appropriate question. Who are you? Do you know who you are? And the answer is right now, no, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are because the only thing you're worried about doing is what white supremacy racism tells you to do, which is destroy your own people. Continue being a tool. Do you see what I'm saying? Continue being a tool, and they'll have you thinking you're going to be all right. But at the end of the day, when they're done using you as a tool, they're going to destroy your black ass too. So anyway, I'm going to get off here. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. The few of you that stayed with me through this whole broadcast, I hope that you got what it was that I was trying to say. And all I'm trying to say is that until we learn who we are, we're always going to be treated this way. We're always going to be treated and dehumanized. There will never be no empathy or sympathy for the plight, of the melanated person, because they see you as less than an animal. They see you as less than a dog. Like Dr. Degruy say, you will have to have years and years of therapy if you see somebody beating down or stomping or shooting down a puppy in the middle of the street. But you just fine. You absolutely desensitized when you see somebody like Ahmaud Arbery being rolled down on and shot down in the street like a dog for no other reason than being a black man. Okay? You can't feel that, but you can feel everything else that white supremacy tell you to feel. You see what I'm saying? And so anyway, I'm going to leave y'all with that. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Slayer Jim said we don't have our own image. A lot of us don't have our own image. A lot of us don't know who we are and refuse to find out. So you're absolutely right. I agree. Much love to you too, Manny. Thank you, guys. Much love to all you guys. You enjoy your weekend, Slayer Jim. And I thank you guys, Cloud, if you're still here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Keep your eyes open. Watch your back, because things are going to get worse before they get better. You see what I'm saying? There is no reason why anybody should be starving in this United States of America, even because we are, in the midst of a global pandemic. Do you see what I'm saying? There's no reason for us to, want to open up the country, because we don't have jobs or we can't feed our children. Do you see what I'm saying? The United States of America has provision to take care of its people, but it would rather have you think that you need to go back to work and die or whatever it is that you have to do, because it refuses to care for its own people. And as far as black people, we are used to having to make it any way we can. Do you see what I'm saying? But instead of us realizing that it's time for us to stick together and come up with something in an effort to save ourselves, we would rather be concerned with any and every other thing besides survival. But everybody else, every other race of people is only concentrating on survival. It is only us that is not concentrating on survival. Do you see what I'm saying? It is only us. And that's unfortunate. But it's going to be what it's going to be. And that's all I got to say. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me once again. Please hit that like button on your way out the door. Please be safe. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Peace.